As president of the UN Correspondents Association, thank you for briefing us on behalf of UNCA and coming to speak with us. My question is to Major General Serra about UNIFIL forces. And the question is, there have been a lot of concerns since the lifting of the European Union arms embargo that there might be retribution against UNIFIL forces, especially if Hezbollah were put on the terrorist blacklist. Do you have these kind of concerns, and what do you feel about that? Thank you.
Thank you for this question. So, first of all, UNIFIL is a United Nations mission. So actually, we have just units that are coming from Europe, but there are no EU activity there. So this is the first point. Second point, I think that actually what we are doing is to keep on the activity that is for our mandate. So the mandate is very clear, is to monitor, to assist, and to support. There are nothing to do with this kind of overwhelming, overarching political activity that can be really seen. So if you want just a straight answer, I will say that the idea of the embargo is really something that is far from our area, because this refers to Syria, and Lebanon and Syria are close. They are close to a lot of history in the past, but the southern of Lebanon until now is not really affected by any case, but in any activity for what is going on in Syria out of the refugees. That is another problem that I would like to raise. For what is going on about the Hezbollah participation or the alleged induction of Hezbollah inside the blacklist, again, we can say that UNIFIL cannot be seen as a hostage of the area. So we are there to support, we are there to help them, the local population, to help the government of Lebanon, to support the Lebanese armed forces. So our mandate is very clear, and I think that we can go carry on the mandate without any other problem. Thank you.
Nizar?
Yeah. General Serra, yes. Just follow up on what Pam has asked. I remember the German Chancellor in the beginning, when the UNIFIL was deployed in South Lebanon, said we are here to protect Israel, very bluntly. I mean, very openly. She said we are here, UNIFIL, to protect Israel. And this is probably one of the unique missions in the world, which is totally NATO, predominantly NATO. France, Italy, and others, they are from countries who are members of NATO. How can you really make yourself neutral in such a circumstances if there is conflict widespreading, engulfing Syria, Israel, Lebanon? And also, I want another question regarding the refugees who are in the south. There are rumors that there are many, some of them belong to the Free Syrian Army, especially in the Shiba area. If you can also elaborate on what's happening near Al-Wazani, especially where the Israelis are building a helicopter port or airfield, and their incursions every now and then into Al-Wazani.
So thank you. You really prepare a lot of questions, so I think that the other can just relax. Give me 5 minutes to answer. There is different point of view. You present this issue about this chancellor of years ago. So let me say something about what I think now. We are there for our mandate is very clear. So the mandate is to support the peace in the area, to give opportunity to move from this cessation of hostilities toward a permanent ceasefire. So what we can offer is a window of opportunity, as I said, that is a military activity. And then politicians from both sides should be able to grasp this moment if they want, and to promote something more that is a long-lasting peace at the end. Regarding so this is the answer regarding this protection of Israel that is not in our mandate. Our mandate is completely different. Of course, we are there and we are protecting both sides of the blue line. So we try to deter some escalation that for some misunderstanding happens on the ground can open again a new conflict. But this is not protecting one side. We are completely balanced, completely impartial. We are reporting any kind of violation, from the Shepherd to the overflight. So just to give you different capability in technology, but we report everything. If a violation is a violation. NATO is more or less the same answer that I gave before regarding EU. So, of course, many nations in the Mediterranean area feel a kind of commitment in order to keep the area under control, to help this area to maintain peace and security. For my own country, if I can split myself in this shoulder that is the Italian one, to say Italy was committed there since the 83, was even not a UN nation, but was some kind of multinational force in order to support what was going on, to calm and to put peace in what is going on in Beirut at that moment. Going back to the other shoulder, the heavy one, the heaviest one, the blue one, so of course there is a lot of activity there, and we are very proud because we can bring some kind of, a good technology, a high level of military capability, high level of high edge of military opportunity, we can say that in general term. And I try as a commander to share the standards. So in order to have all the different troops of my 12,000 soldiers coming from 37 countries to act in the same way, coming from different background, different culture, different capability, but at the end of the ground, the kids that are waving us, it doesn't know if you are Italian or if you are from other country. They saw the blue flag, and we are there to help them to grow up in a better situation than their fathers, hopefully. Last point, refugees. Numbers are quite embarrassing. So there are 500,000 refugees in all Lebanon that are being already registered by UNHCR, that, as you know, is the agency for this taking care of the refugees. And almost similar figures are those that are waiting to be registered. So Lebanon has 4 million inhabitants, and there are almost 1 million of refugees. There is an enormous burden on the institution, school, hospital. Everything is to be overwhelmed by this tide of refugees. So this is really what the international community can be asked to do something, not just to say, oh, it's a pity, but we have to commit ourselves. As a soldier, I am a force commander, head of mission. I have both the charge on my shoulder. So I ask my soldier on their national business in TCC, so something they can do to have the first assistance, of course. But then, as a head of mission, we can try to have them move towards the agency that are dedicated to them. So Sheba, yes, Sheba is an area that is close to our friend that just left the conference, so it's close to the area with Syria. And the influx of refugees there, maybe there are about 2,000, because we had more or less there are 400 families that move in our side. And they are living not in a camp, but they are guests and hosts in among the other population. And Sheba is in a mountain, so now it's nice. During the winter will be tough. All of them are good guys? I cannot say that. Of course, there are people that among the refugees, maybe there are someone that try to find a moment of rest and then be able again to go back and continue his idea, his mission, whatever is in their mind. What we can provide, as usual, is a support to the local authorities in order for them to try to have a better solution for these people.
Sorry, but Excuse me. You've had 5 questions, Nizar. Sylviane, then Matthew, then Tim. Sylviane?
Ma'am.
Thank you.
But there are also my
General,
friends there,
I'm from Lebanon, and my name is Sylviane Zahir from L'Orient Le Jour. The negative impact, I would like to talk about the negative impact of Syria, of the situation in Syria on Lebanon, and the recent sectarian violence in Saida. Is there any modification, or can the UNIFIL the mandate can be modified till to be extended till Saida to help to reestablish the order? And then the second question will be on the maritime border.
I'm sorry, let's keep it to one question each,
Okay.
please, because there are a lot of people who want to ask questions.
I will go very fast. No change of the mandate will be foreseen for any kind of idea around Lebanon. What happens there, as you know, that we have the Lebanese armed forces that is south of the Litani, so we are working together with them south of the Litani. So they withdrew part of their forces in order to take care of the problem inside, because they have some kind of trust that we will be able, by ourselves alone, to take care to the south. So there is a lot of mutual understanding between ourselves and the Lebanese armed forces, and I think that this is a good example of cooperation. So we trust them to take care of their side of the responsibility, and in similar way, they are really supporting our activity in the south. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew?
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Microphone?
Oh, thank you. On behalf of the Free UN Coalition for Access, thanks for bringing all 4. Kind of wish the UNDOF had taken some questions before he left.
Of rearming and actually arming and securing weapons in civilian centers. So could you comment on whether you have in your monitoring capacity detected such violations, and if so, could you comment on them, please? Thank you.
I think that the answer is very easy. There are no activity in the open way of Hezbollah south of the Litani. That was something that happens before 2000, or when they was under occupation of the Israeli control. Then from 2000 to 2006, they were really acting as paramilitary forces in the area. After 2006, with the deployment of the Lebanese armed government, the Lebanese armed forces, the government of Lebanon South, and UNIFIL too, of course, if some activities continue, is done in a way in which is almost impossible to see. So for us, there's nothing that we can do more to check something that we don't know where is it. So the overflight from the other side let the trace on our radars. So it's very easy to follow and say, this time, this happened. The allegation of reinforcement of Hezbollah in the south doesn't have any kind of evidence. So for us, it's very difficult to present something that is not with an evidence. Regarding the answer, UNIFIL will like to have an enhancing technology, and I think about cameras, I think about mobile capability in order to better check the blue line, and I think that we have already 2 radars for acoustic control that are helping us a lot. Thank you.
Benny?
I also wish to respond to a question about the UAVs, whether we are not jealous. I want to say that the importance of information collection and verification to decide where and how to launch troops cannot be overemphasized at all, particularly in South Sudan, where, as I said earlier, trafficability is very, very, limited. For now, however, we obtain information by use of patrols. We depend on forward-looking infrared device or flare for shot, which is mounted on the Rwandese helicopters. But we have only one. And that's why we seek additional. So therefore, the issue about UAVs for South Sudan can be welcome. Of course, the political processes can be engaged, but I will speak more to the military issue, that it can really help to identify flashpoints in time so that the appropriate processes will be engaged to mitigate conflict. So it's a welcome idea, and thank you for that question.
Benny?
Follow up to Joe's question. I think it's fairly clear in the region that Hezbollah is, yes, to you, that Hezbollah is fairly well armed. I think you can see it in Syria, you can see it on Israeli reports, military reports, which I know you're not responsible for, obviously, but they're there, and I think everybody in the region pretty much knows that Hezbollah is well armed. The question is, since the mandate only talks about south of the Litani, and but basically the resolutions that the mandate is built on say that the only armed forces in Lebanon should be the Lebanese army and UNIFIl. Should your mandate be expanded, and also should you get better equipment in order to detect what you say that you can't detect?
Thank you again for this question. It's good. Hezbollah actually, after the declaration of the Secretary General Nasrallah about 3 weeks ago, when he said it was fighting in Syria, has raised a political debate inside Lebanon. This is something that is you can follow from the different newspapers. This is debate at the end brought to the attention of General Sleiman, that is the president of Lebanon, when he tried to have the national dialogue. So the national dialogue is the plan of Lebanon in order to have in the future every different weapons under the same chain of command and control. So even Hezbollah to have some kind of control inside those that are the defense. So maybe this is a good opportunity just to rephrase and think about this plan that can take time, of course. It's not something that can do in one night or tomorrow. Better activity, what I can do more. Actually, we are 12,000 soldiers checking and patrolling night and day almost every inch of this south area of Litani. But we are guests there. We are not the owner of the land. So we are in chapter 6, we can say robust chapter 6, but we have a clear mandate that gave us the opportunity to help the Lebanese armed forces in order to have the area south of Litani free of any unauthorized weapon. So this is the case, but it's south of Litani, it's not regarding all the country. And this is what we are doing. So when there are some information, when there are some allegations, when there are some evidence, whatever is, we go through this activity, we follow, and if they are the case, sometimes we are lucky or good to find something. Otherwise, the pressure that we put on the area, I think that is a good deterrence that helps with the goodwilling of both sides in order to keep situation under control as it is.
Evelyn?
General, in South Sudan, where do you find the biggest problems, the fault lines on security? The government has frequently included...
Thank you very much for this question. Maybe if I can take the second question first. Whether, to some extent, the tri-states area, which is in the central part, and that is notably where activities in terms of confiscated arms, as opposed to what it used to be before. We're talking about grenades, we're talking about RPGs. You know, whenever these things occur, there is always a tendency of safety. So in response to my question is that our internal security efforts are directed to Jonglei.
You have to push the button. No, the button on the microphone.
Oh, yes. So, well, because everybody knows that Hezbollah controls a huge arsenal in its area of operation, and at the same time, Israel will not stop its air violations and land violations to Lebanon. So have you considered or thought of using drones in Lebanon to control the area? Is this could be an option for you?
I think that the use of new technology is something that will be very useful. As I said before, my main concern today is to keep situation under control and to have the blue line safe and secure and confirm. So my idea is really to enforce as much as possible the control of the blue line, using also the high-tech technology that may be, again, as soldiers or military, we have a capability to know what is in the shelf. So we say, okay, I like this one because I use already in other mission, so why we cannot use it there? So this is a good experience. And out of that, yes, everything will be good to increase one side the control and the other to deter the needs to control that sometimes Israel wants to keep, because they said that we are not effective enough, so they want to control what is going on. That, of course, this is a very big violation because it's against the government of Lebanon. It's not only against those that they are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assertion that there are really no Hezbollah, that he has so many thousands or tens of thousands of ready armed troops in the south of Lebanon. Is it your assertion that none of those people stand south of the Litani? And of course, the Israelis tell us there are huge numbers of infiltrated troops.
Here than before. So it's very clear that south of the Litani, there are no open presence of Hezbollah. There are no soldier out of unit in uniform out of those of the Lebanese government and the armed forces. It's very clear. If they are wearing civilian clothes, there are a group of people that are playing something, I cannot say that are Hezbollah. So it's very clear. So there are, since I think 2006, I was there since 2012. So 2006, the activity, if there are activities, something that is done not in an open way.